Pink does not exist the way you think it does, not on the rainbow, not as a wavelength of light, not anywhere in the physical spectrum you could point a prism at. That sounds wrong, because pink seems to be everywhere. Flowers, sunsets, candy wrappers, neon signs, pink surrounds you every day. But here's the strange part. A rainbow is simply a spread of wavelengths, arranged in order from red at one end to violet at the other. Every color inside that spread has a wavelength you could, in theory, measure. Pink does not. There is no pure beam of pink light in the way there is a pure beam of green light or a pure beam of blue light. Shine a single uncontaminated wavelength through a prism and you will never land on pink. It simply is not in there. So where does pink come from? It comes from a very specific kind of confusion inside your eyes. Pink happens when your eyes receive red and blue, or red and violet, signals at the same time, without the green that would normally sit between them on the spectrum. Under normal circumstances, light containing a mix of wavelengths gets read by your brain as some color sitting logically along that visible spread. But red and blue are not neighbors. They sit at opposite ends of the rainbow, with the rest of the spectrum stretched out between them. When both arrive together, with the middle missing, your visual system is left holding two signals that do not belong to any single wavelength at all. Your brain does not throw up its hands. It looks at that impossible gap and invents a useful answer. It effectively closes the loop, bending the straight spectrum into a circle and placing something in the space where red meets violet. That something is pink. In other words, pink is a mental bridge connecting two ends of the visible spectrum that would otherwise never touch. It is not a wavelength. It is a workaround, a solution your nervous system generates on the spot so the input makes sense. None of this makes pink fake. Your experience of it is completely real, real enough to paint with, dye fabric with, name flowers after. But it is manufactured on the inside, not delivered ready-made from the outside world. And this is not some special exception just for pink. This is how color works in general. Your eyes do not measure reality with the precision of a scientific instrument. They cannot hand your brain a clean readout of exact wavelengths. Instead, cone cells in your retina each respond more or less strongly to different bands of light, and your brain compares the differences between those signals. From that comparison, and nothing more direct, it builds the stable, colorful world you seem to just see in front of you. That is why the same object can look like a different color depending on the light around it. A white shirt looks warm under a lamp and cool under an overcast sky, yet you still call it white, because your brain adjusts for context instead of reporting raw measurements. It is also why a screen can fool you completely using only red, green, and blue pixels arranged close together. Your television, your phone, your monitor, none of them actually produce yellow, orange, purple, or pink light. They fire tiny red, green, and blue lights next to each other, and your brain does the rest, blending them into colors that were never physically present on the glass. The world hands your brain raw data, photons, wavelengths, intensities. Your brain hands you color, the finished experience, complete with names and feelings attached. Pink is one of the clearest, most beautiful proofs that this is happening. It is a color built entirely out of contradiction, two ends of the spectrum that should never meet, stitched together into something you would swear you can see sitting right there on a flower petal. Perception is not a camera quietly recording the world exactly as it is. It is a live translation, running continuously behind your eyes, turning gaps and mismatches into something coherent enough to live in. Follow for more random things you may not know.